All right.
Hey, everybody. We are trying to do a Facebook Live show, but it's not working technically right now. So, what we're doing, because we have an amazing guest with us, just one of our favorite fellas in the whole world, Chip Baker. And we are Kristen Smedley and Mary Fran Bontempo, and we are talking brilliantly resilient. So, welcome,
Resilient.
everybody. Yeah, we all need resilience in this
Resilient
day and
is the
age.
word of the day.
It is. It's gonna. I have a feeling it's gonna be. Doesn't Time Magazine do like a person of the year and a word? Doesn't one of the dictionaries do a word of the year or something? I think this is going to be the word.
Wait, are you going to refer me as the person of the year to
No,
time?
I was not. That was nowhere in my thought process at
Oh,
all.
I thought maybe it was coming because
Nope.
we're on TV now and we have an audience that would love to
Hey,
hear something like that because that would be
you
uplifting.
you know that what you see is what you get with me. I'm not going to change just because we have an
Wait,
audience.
you forgot to add the word raw. This is brilliantly
Oh,
resilient raw. We decided to do this at the last minute because we were going to have the whole production. This whole office was becoming the production zone in the summer to record real,
mm-hmm.
good,
Real
professional,
solid stuff. Now I'm
well
like,
thought
wait, I
out
got my little
episodes.
thing's not where it's supposed to be. Anyway, let's welcome Chip because if we ever needed Success Chronicles, we need
It's
them
now.
now.
It's
We need them
now.
now. So, so tell us, favorite buddy of ours, who you are to our people, and start laying your brilliance on us because we need it.
Well, first off, I just want to say thanks so much for having me. You ladies are brilliant and definitely resilient.
We're something. I don't know what I don't know what, but we're something.
There you go. But me, myself, Chip Baker, ordinary guy working hard to achieve some extraordinary things. Blessed and fortunate to interview people from all walks of life with the Success Chronicles and share their stories for positive inspiration and motivation. And I'm from Texas, close to Houston, Texas, and it's been a really good ride doing this. And through the Success Chronicles, I come across you amazing ladies, and blessed to know you, blessed to be connected with you all.
Oh, right
Well,
back
right
at
back
you,
at
dude.
you. Yep, right back at
Yeah,
you. So, how are you um, continuing to spread your message in these times where nobody knows what the heck's going on? How do we look ahead, not lose our minds presently, and how do we look ahead, and how do we, in this day to day that we're all trying to figure out, how do we keep that positive spirit?
I think for me the great thing is that we have technology. And technology allows us to be, you know, wherever we want to be, the click of a button, or we can be wherever we want to be. And I think that's the one amazing thing. I think we just have to use the time to, find ways to be better. Control the controllables. What's going on. We can't control that. You know, but what we can control is the opportunities to get better, the opportunities to connect more with our people, the opportunities to build, establish, and hang on to those relationships, those positive relationships that we have. And it's been great for me because I've been able to do more of that because I have more time to do that.
I love that phrase that you just said, control the controllables.
Yes,
That's priceless because we're living in a world where everything is out of control, virtually everything. So on a grander scale, let's put it that way, on a grander scale, but there are those things that we as individuals can do to control that our relationships remain vibrant and healthy, especially in this time where healthiness is something that's all on our minds.
without a doubt, without a doubt.
It's funny. I just had one of a friend of mine this morning in a text. Everybody's kind of checking in on everybody and whatnot, and they sent me. I did an article about teaching on LinkedIn the other day, and saying that now I get. Of course, it was right before all this happened. I'm like, oh, I'm not teaching in the classroom anymore, and then my life went crazy and full circle, and now I'm going into schools with my book. And then all that imploded, right? That I can't really do that, but I'm doing online, having meet the author online with kids. So I did this whole big thing. So he's like, oh, that was such an inspirational article and all. And I said, how are you faring in all this with your kids and all? And so many of my friends would say, oh my gosh, you know, this is crazy. You know, this is terrible. And I'm trying to get to the store and all this. And he just simply said, I can't control the uncontrollable.
Yeah.
That was like
It's so
7:00
true.
this morning. It's true. It's like, you know what? It's not anything that we can control. And I will say too, everybody is in the middle of this right now.
Right.
You know, it's not like you're out
Mm-mm.
there alone. Yes, we are sitting in our houses by ourselves or with kids running everywhere and dogs tracking mud in. But, and now that you're right, having this technology, you really can get on and talk with everybody because everybody is in this.
I think one thing I like that point that you hit, you know, sometimes, you know, in our lives, you know, we're all going to go through or grow through things that are tough. Right. And a lot of times when we are growing through those things, we think, well, you know, I'm the only one,
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. But in reality, you know, everyone goes through everything. But then, like you said, in this case, it's the whole world.
Yeah.
Quite literally. Yeah.
Right. And so we know that, I mean, that's what it is, you know?
Yeah. And I think that we all have to recognize that things are going to change, but they have been changing exponentially over the years. I mean, I'm a dinosaur from the days of like snail mail. That's how you communicated. Yep. Okay. From the days of snail mail. And then when we got fax machines, we were like, whoa, fax machines. And now you're like a fax machine. What, are you kidding me? So, I mean, things have changed exponentially. And I think we have to recognize that there's going to be positive outgrowth from all of this. I mean, everybody is afraid. Everybody's anxious right now. But we were talking about this yesterday. This is also going to be a time of creativity where people are going to figure out new ways to do things and figure out how we can, move forward in all of this stuff. And at the end of it, and Kristen and I like to say, come out brilliant and not broken. And you say, grow through the go through, which I love that. So how can we, let's take a look at this and figure out how we can grow through the go through.
Yeah, I think first off, change is good if looking at it with the right perspective.
Mm-hmm. The right lens,
Yeah, the right lens. You have to have your positive perspective lenses on. Mm-hmm. And through this, and you think about, everyone's going to have an opportunity to slow down, right? You're forced to.
Yeah.
Right. And so now you can, get caught up on some things that you've been wanting to do. Like we talked earlier, you can, work on those relationships. You can get that quality family time that we all need, that we all don't get enough of. Mm-hmm. There's lots of things that will come out of it. There's lots of creative ways that people will find to communicate or be close to one another without actually being close to one another. Yeah. All of those things are going to come out of that. But for me, I think we have to establish a routine, in our lives. Routines provide us consistency, and consistency is where the magic is. I think, we joked about this yesterday. There's a great YouTube channel, well, a couple of great YouTube channels and podcasts that people can check out, Sex Chronicles, Four Chicks.
That's a good one.
I mean, it's lots of great resources of some people that we know that you guys can check out. And then another one is really love John Gordon stuff, all about positivity. I like to tell people my blood type is B positive.
Look at you.
And
you know what? I hate to say it, but mine really is B negative. So
no.
It really is.
That explains it, Tin Man.
Uh-oh.
We're not going to talk about that, though.
Hey,
that explains a lot of stuff that goes on in my head, though. Holy cow.
That's funny. That's good stuff right there. But I was going to say, I try to stay away from people that have the blood type of O negative. Right? So I don't know. I just think, there's lots of great resources out there that we can, check out and to help us be positive and not really just hold on to all of that news, because like all of that, like I don't even watch because everything is going to give you something that's going to have you be anxious or panic or think, oh, I need to do that. Oh, we have to pray. Well, I mean, control what you can control.
You know what? I actually don't watch the news anymore. And of course, my middle son is obsessed and wants to be in broadcasting. And I'm like, great. He is so obsessed with certain channels and people and all. So it's been on a lot. And I realized that we all end up on edge. Plus, he turns it up so loud because our house is so loud. That does not help. But, and we've been turning it off a lot because we're doing a lot of conversations about how that is escalating stuff. But then I noticed this morning, my Twitter feed, I have to, like, in my Instagram, I only follow positive folks, inspirational things and fun people and all. And then I realized I never cleaned out my Twitter. I think because I was trying to get so many followers and follow people and then connect with folks and build that. And now I'm like, you know what? I put out a podcast this morning. I wrote it down to remind myself, Mindful Moment podcast. I happen to have it on when I was walking my dogs because I have to get into a mindfulness moment when I take those dang dogs out because they're nuts, right? And we have to go out before anybody's out because they're nuts. So I'm out, like, as soon as the sun starts to come up, they get crazy and they want to go out. And that's when we go. So anyway, I was listening to this and the woman was saying about how everybody creates panic in each other and stop doing all of that, So then I post it and I say, if you've got people that are toxic in your Twitter feed, unfollow them. And then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should take my own advice. I've gone through and I started like unfollowing the ones that just want to. I understand when there's like a situation that you want to either debate or get insight into, but when it's just constant and this person sucks because of this, then I'm like, that doesn't work for me.
Well, and you know what? I think we have to keep in mind that at this point, pretty much everything is speculation. So when you have people going out and saying, well, there's 2 million people going to die. I mean, no, don't listen to that stuff. Don't listen to that. Yeah, exactly. We have to recognize that even those people who are informed in terms of science and technology and all that, yes, there are certain things that they're going to be able to kind of think maybe this will happen, but we just don't know. So to be drowning ourselves in all this negative stuff, it's just not going to help anybody. And I have to say, I really loved your suggestion about a routine. And let's face it, none of us have our routines anymore. And it is very easy to, like, in the morning when the alarm goes off, think, well, what the heck am I getting up for? What's the point? And I will admit to having had that thought this morning, like, why am I even bothering? But you have to make yourself commit to certain things. So, like, take advantage of the technology. And if you usually go to the gym, find a buddy and FaceTime them and do a workout through the computer or something like that. My daughter did that with my niece the other day. They FaceTimed one another and they did a workout that they've been doing together, but weren't able to do that. So,
there's a bunch of freebies now. All the gym people are posting all free workouts. I do see a lot of that happening. Everyone's just giving all of their giving for free. All of their expertise is just to keep everybody moving forward.
Yeah. And I think moving is a big thing, like physical exercise and getting out and increasing those serotonins naturally, because we need to do that. Like, that's really important. And I think, it's another good time because now people don't have the excuse of, well, I didn't have the time to do that. I don't have the time to do, start the book or start the whatever that they were thinking about doing. You don't have that excuse anymore.
Yeah, no excuses.
So, no, there's no excuses. So this is a good opportunity to start those projects that you've been putting off because you, quote, don't have the time, unquote. Now you do.
I think too, there's two ways I look at it. I think there's a personal aspect of it, and then there's a global community aspect of it. I think personally, we talked about this, yesterday about the basketball analogy with the triple threat position. And in basketball, there's a triple threat position that you get in whenever you have the ball in your hand, and you can pass it, you can dribble it, or you can shoot it. So there's 3 different things you can do from one position. And so personally, I think we have to be in that triple threat position, and we have to be able to reflect on things that we want to improve on, reflect on ourselves, reflect on our current situations where we are, like we mentioned a lot, with our relationships, with our personal growth, with lots of different things. Then the second one is, learn, be in position to learn. Like you said, everybody's giving away their free knowledge, information, and put yourself in position to learn as much as you can. And then third, position to take action. Just like you said, there's no excuse. You have time. Let's take some action to get better. So I think that's the personal side of it. But then when you look at the global community aspect of it, I think it's an opportunity for us to become closer. You know what I'm saying? Like even though we're social distancing, I think, it allows us the opportunity to be closer to the people that it's important for us to be closer to.
Yeah,
If that
make
makes
those
sense.
connections meaningful. Well, it
Right.
does. I mean, we have very, how many friends do you have on Facebook, or how many followers do you have on this, that, or the other thing? And those are not the connections. And don't get me wrong, there's value in it. There certainly is, but those are not the connections at the end of the day, right? That really, really mean something to your life. So I think, what you're saying, I'm kind of hearing sort of a method for this. So take some time and step back from the wildness of the world and sort of reevaluate and meditate and get centered, and then take some action to be, closer to the people that are important to you, and to do those things that you've been putting off because the craziness of everyday life has gotten in the way.
That's it. And I think for me, that's the exciting part. Just like you said, like the writing the book, or like, from this, amazing things will definitely happen.
Yeah.
You know what, too? I actually, in terms of the schedule and relationships and all that, I had to take a big step back from my type A, getting up at 4:45 in the morning and having my way of this is how this all goes, to now kids are everywhere in my house. I've been displaced out of everything, right? And I actually committed to, at least for this week, because I had to talk myself off the ledge, this week I am not getting up until 5:45. I'm giving myself the extra hour because the kids aren't getting up until later. And they're staying up later. So I found myself getting agitated that they're up so late, having 3 teenagers, and then I have to get to bed. But the funny thing is, my kids, at least my oldest ones, they love to chat after 10 o'clock. Killing me. Because when it's just the few of us during the year when my college kid isn't home, 9:30, the entire house is quiet and shut down. But now it's like 10 o'clock, 11, and then he gets the other one going. But that's when they love to hang out and chat. So I had to just decide that only for 1 week, I'm going to adjust it. And then we'll take a look next week if we can start scaling back and have them have their own conversations somewhere else. But at least just to be flexible and not have to be so regimented in my own way, having these kids I got to work around. And then my kids and I learned 3 years ago through our nightmare of a divorce to be open and honest and have conversation. And now we've had 3 years of practicing that. So that last night we all sat there talking about people that don't have jobs right now, and what does this mean for this generation as my kids are going and looking at what they want to study and go into the workforce. Like, we talked about, are you going to have something like, that's a given, be in the fields that don't get impacted by stuff like this? Or are you still going to chase your dreams and be flexible if something like this happens? It was amazing conversation that put a lot of it made me realize what they're worried about. And then kind of put a lot of those fears to rest and just talk about it. So, I've had to adjust my own type A-ness, but it's been really cool to keep those relationships building with my kids. And of course I say that now, and I'll walk out there and there'll be laundry flying everywhere. It is fun to have them all under one roof, though.
I think you hit the key, though, with the flexibility idea. We're all figuring this out as we go. So, any kind of changes or any kind of adjustment that you make, be gentle with yourself. And hey, if it doesn't work, try something else. Nobody knows what the heck to do right now. We're all just figuring it out. So, make these little adjustments, see how they play out. And then hopefully maybe that's a skill we carry with us beyond. You know, that idea of being flexible and that idea of, hey, you know what, if this doesn't work out, maybe it's not the end of the world. Let's try plan B. You know, without our hair going on fire every time something
Don't you
doesn't
guys,
go our way.
do you guys think that us as work from home, for the most part, entrepreneurs and whatnot, have the advantage right now in this scenario? Like, I see my friends that are used to going to offices and not doing, they're like losing their minds
Yeah,
about
right.
trying to keep it all together, and their worlds are literally completely upside down,
Yeah,
you know?
I agree with that.
So what would you say to folks that that aren't used to this whole being from home, using all of this technology
Yeah.
and being creative like that, to be flexible and whatnot?
uh, I'm gonna go weather analogy here. You know, storms are gonna always come. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
storms are things are gonna happen, and the way you weather the storms is by sticking to your core common principles of what you believe in. And so for me, you know, again, I go back to the routine. I go back to, you know, and as you were saying those things, I'm thinking of people, like exact people in my life that I know, you know, that are, you know, doing those things, and
Those
we've
come to
had
mind.
conversation. Yeah, but then again, you know, those same people, you know, though they may have big corporate jobs, they may make a lot of money, but they've never really had time to hang with their family like they wanted to.
Yeah, and you know what I got to say? I just when you were talking about this, I was thinking about the fact, and I don't know if you've had this experience, but when I go on vacation somewhere, it takes me a few days to come off of my
Yeah,
usual,
to get into the
yeah, to get
vacation.
into that
Yeah,
vibe. So I
uh,
think people really need to step back and just be
yeah,
gentle with themselves. You know, like this is not going to
exactly.
happen overnight that you're going to all of a sudden say, peace, love, and joy, and rainbows and unicorns, and let's be with my family. That is not going to happen right away.
No, no,
So,
ma'am.
you know, again, just be gentle with yourself, be kind to yourself, and recognize that this is a process. This isn't a switch. This is a process. You can't flip it and be in another place automatically. You have to
Yeah,
allow yourself to go through the steps.
yeah, it's important to just be in the moment, like be
Yeah.
present in the moment. Like this is the moment that we have, you know, like you can't create a different one. You know, just be in this moment, and you know, enjoy those, you know, being able to be flexible and adjust, and you know, change the schedules, and you know, enjoy being able to learn whatever it is you want to learn.
Yeah.
Because really, although we're, you know, locked down at the house, maybe, like we can really get on a device and go anywhere in the world we want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting too. So many people keep saying, and we've talked about this a lot, is that our kids are now more than ever, because we're locked in the house with them, watching how we react.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Right?
important.
Like they're, and that's what I've been very mindful of
Yeah.
as I'm about to lose it. And then I'm thinking, like last night we had our big conversation. I could have gone a really bad way of me really complaining about the stuff that we were all talking about with income and everything, but they really are watching and learning how to handle stuff like this. And I happened to today when I learned from a neighbor that I ran into at the park yesterday. We stayed 10 feet apart when we saw each other on the running path, about our dogs. And I said, it must be nice to be able to bring your dog here. Mine are crazy. She said, try bringing them one at a time. And then and we went through this whole thing about how to make my dogs less crazy. So I took one dog today to the park and went for a run, and was able to actually listen to a great podcast while I did that, because I wasn't screaming and trying to figure the two of them out. And it was Rachel Hollis's Rise podcast.
Yeah, she's good.
She's really good.
Yeah,
I never
she's
really get
good.
to listen to her, because
Yeah.
I like to listen as opposed to just having like some stuff there. So anyway, she had on this Colin O'Brady. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but to make a very long story short, he had this accident when he was like 22, where it left him in a wheelchair after these burns on his body and whatnot. He ended up not only walking again, but he did like the all 7 summits and some other crazy, insane things. He holds the world record for the shortest span of time that he did all this in. But he credits his mom with coming to this horrific makeshift hospital in Thailand, I think, when he got injured at 22. And from the moment she walked into the hospital room, she kept saying to him every day, what are your goals? What are your life goals? What do you want to do with your life? And then, okay, so you want to someday run a triathlon? What are you going to do today? How are you getting out of that wheelchair just today? It was amazing. And he kept coming back to his mom forcing him and having that conversation and faith in him that he was going to overcome this really was the started the trajectory of him overcoming. So it was such a powerful, and they recorded this before all this happened. It was just happened to be, he kept mentioning his mom, you know, and I thought, man, kids really are impacted by how we teach them how to get through things.
And they see it. I mean, yes, by what you say and actions, but like they observe
they
everything.
Watch. They see. It's really funny because I've got a bunch of grandkids now, and they will occasionally say things that remind me of something that I've forgotten that happened, that we did together. Or so they are, even as they get older, they're still sponges. They're catching stuff and they're absorbing it. And it's important that we make sure they absorb positive things. And I want to say one last thing. We probably should wind up, although we could probably talk all day. But, when I wrote this 15-minute master thing, we were in the throes of David's heroin addiction. And that's where all that whole process came from. But the gist of it is to come up with one single thing. And it reminded me, Kristin, when you were saying, what one thing can you do today to get towards that goal? So it's all about one action step that you institute, and then you see what happens. Because when you insert a variable in a situation, it's going to have an effect or it's not going to have an effect. And you have to wait and see what happens. So in this time where we all have to slow down, think of it that way. What one thing can you institute today that's going to move you forward? Pick one thing and try it and institute it and see where it goes.
I like that.
I like that too. You know, it's funny. I actually just did that with my Carissa. She's losing it a little bit because she hurt her knee and she's an athlete. Now all sports are canceled and she can't just go run around the block and do something outside. So she's so I said to her today, I said, wait a minute. We have been whining about this for days. Why aren't we? I'm like, okay, you can't get on the exercise bike. You can't do that. Wait a minute. We have hand weights. You can do a whole upper body workout. We ordered our big exercise ball popped. Long story, ridiculous story for a whole nother channel. But she ordered a new exercise ball because I said, as long as you don't have any weight bearing. So we came up with this whole thing. We're going to turn the one room in our house into the workout room, and all four of us are going to do this together to get everybody moving. But I'm like, I can't believe we've been whining about this
for
it just 5 days.
What you were saying and what Chip was saying earlier, it depends on what you focus on.
Yeah.
You're going to focus on the fact that you can't do something, or you're going to focus on what you can do.
And that's perfect example. Me, myself being a coach, like when you have injuries, okay, so you may have hurt your knee. There's nothing wrong with your arms. Let's get some work on your arms. You know what I'm saying? Like we may not be able to move around, like, and go do whatever, but you can get some work on something else. Nothing should stop you from continuing to grow and continuing to get better. Like like you said, there's no excuse.
Right. And there's always a way. There's always a way to improve something. It might not be exactly in the area you want it, but as Kristin and I have found, and I know you found too, Chip, the path that you pick and decide is the right one for you isn't always the one you're going to end up on anyway. Exactly. So when you have an opportunity to do your body good, do your brain good, do the world good, you take it, regardless of whether it was something that you thought was going to be part of your path or not. You just do it.
Yeah. Watch for these guns are going to grow. We're doing
man. I'm going to start lifting weights too. Look, I'm not kidding. This is what I was doing before we finally got on.
Look at you.
I'm not kidding. That's what I was doing.
Beach body. Look out.
As long as
Orange Theory.
You only look from here up.
Fit life. Hashtag all of them. Mary Fran is doing the whole workout.
Oh, Lord.
With those big old weights. What are they, 0.5 pounds?
No.
I don't know. They
feel pretty heavy. I don't know what they are.
They're pretty heavy. Look at them.
Heavy. No. So anyway, we're going to wind this up because we could talk to our buddy Chip all day, every day.
Good times.
It's good times. And we want to thank you from here to you because you're always a great source of inspiration for us. And you're just a lot of fun. And that
Right.
voice, I can't get enough of that voice.
Well, thanks for having me. Always a good time hanging out with you ladies. And, whenever you need me, you got me.
Oh, well, we're gonna have you on again because we're doing
Let's
this
do
as
it.
a daily show, and we're gonna have you on again. We'll check in. We'll check in with Chip in Houston
Check
and
in
see
with
how it's
Chip.
all going. Check in with Chip.
It's
Let's
going to be a
do it.
weekly check-in with Chip. All right.
Let's
So
do it.
until the next episode of Brilliantly Resilient, live, raw, noonish film. We don't know what the heck's happening here. We're trying to figure the technology out. Have a great day. Stay resilient and work towards being brilliant.
Go get it.
Bye.
Yes.